A 62-year-old man named Edwin Robinson was completely blind until a lightning bolt struck him. Yep. And for some logic-defying reason, the phenomenon that should have sent him straight to a coffin somehow made him see again. Wait, what? This whole thing started in 1971. Robinson, then a truck driver in Maine, was doing his job on a freezing cold day when suddenly he lost control of his truck. The vehicle jackknifed on an icy bridge. The impact was brutal, and Edwin suffered a severe brain injury. From that moment on, he couldn't see or hear anything. But life must go on, right? So he adapted. He learned Braille, started using a hearing aid, and did his best to adjust to his new normal. 9 years later, in June of 1980, something unbelievable happened. He was in his backyard calling for his pet chicken. Apparently, it followed him around like a dog. Anyway, he was walking around using his aluminum cane and then, bam! Out of nowhere, a lightning bolt hit him. He later described the sensation as feeling like someone cracked a whip over his head. He just fell forward, flat on the ground, and he thought it was the end for him. Thankfully, it wasn't. Somehow he managed to gather his strength, get up, and make his way back into the house. He lay down and took a 20-minute nap. And when he woke up, something felt different. He described it like his whole body was made of rubber, but in a good way. I mean, it's been years since he felt this good. He sat on the couch, opened his eyes, and then he saw. Yep, for the first time in years, he could see. And there it was, right in front of him, a plaque on the wall that one of his grandkids had made. What's even crazier is that his vision was so sharp he could read it. Nothing made sense, so he decided to see a doctor. His appointment was the very next day. After a 40-minute examination, the doctor confirmed it. He had regained vision in both eyes. And his hearing was fine too. Just like that, Edwin Robinson became a media sensation. Everybody wanted to interview the guy who had experienced a modern-day, unexplainable miracle. But not everyone was convinced. Medical professionals, including ophthalmologists and neurologists who had read about his case in the newspapers, were skeptical. According to them, it was simply not possible, physiologically speaking, to be blind from a brain injury for years and then, out of nowhere, get the vision back. It didn't make any sense to say that an electrical shock could somehow reawaken his optical nerves and restore his sight. That's why, for many people, the only logical explanation was that he had been faking his blindness all along and had, for whatever reason, suddenly decided he wanted to see again. We don't know if he was lying or not, but the truth is, no one has ever been able to fully explain what happened to Robinson that day. Now, statistically, the chances of getting struck by lightning in a year are less than 1 in a million. But if you ever do get struck, don't panic. Your chances of survival are pretty high. Statistics show that around 90% of lightning strike victims survive. And just like Robinson, they often end up with one heck of a story to tell. Take, for example, the case of Chef Meg Haworth. She was sitting with a friend on the wet sand near the waves at Venice Beach in Los Angeles. They noticed a storm in the distance, but it seemed far away, and the sky above them had only a few dark clouds, so they didn't move. But then, out of nowhere, the weather shifted dramatically. A violent lightning storm hit the area, and everything turned into chaos. People were hugging each other, crying and screaming. And before Haworth even knew what was happening, boom, she was struck. She said it felt like a heavy metal object had slammed into her head. Her muscles seized up from the electricity, especially around her neck and shoulders. Thankfully, she survived. And she experienced some strange consequences from the event. Not so much physical ones, but she swears she developed new abilities afterwards, as if her senses had become sharper. Everything around her looked more vivid. Colors were brighter, outlines were more defined, and she could feel things happening around her in a way she never had before. For instance, if a sprinkler turned on in a yard nearby, she could feel it like it was happening inside her body. If a helicopter flew overhead, it felt like it was flying through her. Meanwhile, Kimberly Crone from Forney, Texas, also claimed she developed some kind of superpower after being struck by lightning. In June of 2009, she was just casually standing in front of her kitchen sink, holding a pan. Then, out of nowhere, a storm erupted. She heard two loud booms, then a massive lightning came straight through the ceiling. The bolt bounced off the pan she was holding and hit her right in the chest. All she remembers is pain and the distinct smell of burning. She said it felt like her body was on fire as the current surged through her. Then she collapsed to her knees and crawled into the living room, where her 9-year-old son found her and called 911. Even years after the traumatic event, she still felt the pain. But not only that, she developed a unique ability. She could now sense when a storm was coming. So, what really happens to the human body when struck by lightning? Immediately after the strike, you're going to pass out. A lot of people think lightning strike victims end up looking fried, exactly like cartoon characters. Well, while your skin can suffer burns, the real frying happens on the inside. The list of complications is long. It includes muscle soreness, severe headaches, cardiac arrest, confusion, and dizziness. In the long term, the effects can be unpleasant. Victims often struggle with insomnia, memory problems, and mood swings. Many folks report feeling irritable and anxious, even years after the incident. Totally understandable. Another common side effect is the appearance of strange, fern-like lesions on the skin, known as Lichtenberg figures. These usually show up on the feet or legs and are caused by ruptured capillaries beneath the skin due to the intense electrical discharge. They often appear a few hours after the strike and tend to fade away within days. Now, if you never want to experience anything remotely like this in your life, there are a few precautions you can take. First, if you hear thunder, it means lightning is close enough to strike. So get inside fast and stay indoors for at least 30 minutes after the last sound of thunder. If you're caught outside during a storm, avoid open fields, hilltops, and tall objects like trees. These act as lightning magnets. If you cannot find shelter, crouch down in a ball-like position, tuck your head and cover your ears. This keeps you as low as possible with minimal contact to the ground. But whatever you do, never lie flat. Although it might feel safe, this position increases your chances of getting hit by ground currents. And finally, stay away from water. Whether it's a lake, a pool, or even a puddle, water is a fantastic conductor of electricity, and you do not want to test that firsthand. If you are inside when the storm hits, that's good news, but you still need to be cautious. Unplug electronics, as lightning can travel through electrical systems. Stay away from laptops, washers, dryers, and other appliances until the storm passes. Oh, and do not lean against concrete walls or floors, as some older homes can conduct electricity through small cracks. And don't stand near windows, because the storm's strong winds can break the glass and send objects flying into your house and into you. Bottom line, when thunder roars, go indoors. But even then, be careful. That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.